Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Coming up in our disability awareness segment brought to you by ogpay.com, today we're featuring the amazing Kasie Marek, two-time childhood cancer survivor and medical mama to heart warrior baby Noah. She is embracing life's lemons, so to speak. She goes by the handle Laughing After Lemons on social media and is the founder of KH Kids Inc. Today, we're chatting about what to do when life hands you lemons, disability awareness, baby Noah's second lease on life, and the importance of organ donation. Organ donors, life's real angels. Welcoming now to the show is the amazing Kasie Marek. Welcome, my beautiful friend.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So talk to me about what happened to you specifically when you were 14 years old.
Yeah, so actually I was 12 when I started having symptoms, and I just had some very normal sort of things happening. I had some eczema on my arms, just these little signs. And then one day I ended up waking up and having a big mass on my neck, and it's called a goiter. So we went into the doctor and had a biopsy, and sure enough, it came back suspicious as cancer. The doctors kind of told us, you can have surgery or you cannot. Like the chances of you at this age having this type of cancer, we have just not ever seen it. So we waited a few months until I ended up having surgery, which ended up being about 9 hours surgery to remove my thyroid. And the cancer had spread at that point. And I was 13 at this point, and yeah, I had cancer and ended up going through treatments. And
now that's a tough battle at the onset of puberty when you're going through all those hormonal changes, and we all know that your thyroid is your internal clock. So that must have been really difficult. Now, fast forward to in 2012, you established a nonprofit organization, Kasie Helps Kids, KH Kids, and you began helping children who were fighting cancer by providing a simple gift of emotional support and something very significant during their journey, a teddy bear. Now, talk to me about why a teddy bear.
Yeah, so I was in isolation for treatments because I had radioactive iodine treatment. So I could not be around anybody, not even my parents. And my dad and I have an interesting relationship, but he left a teddy bear, and it just provided so much comfort. When he or my mom could not be in the room, I had the teddy bear with me. And so I left the hospital, with that, saying, what can I do to help these kids? And I ended up reaching out to a couple teddy bear companies. And again, back then, we had AOL emails. And so I found a company that they sent me over 500 teddy bears. And that was kind of the start of everything.
So it's so interesting because I, at 19, had the exact same cancer you did, a thyroid cancer, Graves' disease.
Wow.
I underwent radioactive iodine treatment. I lost my eyelashes, my eyebrows. It was at the height of my modeling career. And then because half my thyroid was radiated, my chances of having a child, even from the amount of radiation I ingested, I was told I couldn't. But that's not why we're here today. That's my story. Today we're here for your story. But it's interesting that I had no idea this is overlapping, and it's giving me chills because I've been there.
Yeah.
Now, the inspiration behind the teddy bear, as you said, Kasie Helps with a Z Kids, is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, of course, with this mission aimed at assisting kids and their families who, just like yourself, were affected by life-threatening illnesses, which I think is an amazing story. But what doesn't the old adage of what doesn't kill you will only make you stronger. So fast forward to over a decade later, looking back, this was just a small fragment of your journey. You say one full of many lemons, hence your handle. Now, from adjusting to a new normal, so to speak, after cancer, to facing other health issues, to struggling with anxiety and depression, to relationships, marriage, and a bump in the road as Brandon and you start a family. What happens at your 23-week appointment while you are having an anatomy scan in your second trimester?
Yeah. So, Brandon and I, we had actually had a couple pregnancies that I miscarried. But as you mentioned, the doctors say after, especially at the age that we were in, after thyroid cancer and the radioactive iodine, your chances of getting pregnant, especially without assistance, is slim to none. So I had that in the top of my mind, like, I'm probably not going to be able to get pregnant and much less have a baby. Then after multiple miscarriages, I was kind of just waiting for the shoe to drop. And when I was pregnant with Noah, I was being very closely watched until about 15 weeks. And I finally told the doctor, I know this pregnancy is here to stay. Like, we're good. We can back off the appointments a little bit. And then of course I go to my 23 week anatomy scan. I had it a couple weeks late, and they told me that Noah had a heart condition. And that was kind of all that they said. It was just, he has a heart condition. And I was speechless. And it was in the evening when my doctor had called me with those results. So I didn't even know what to ask. And I got off the phone and I was like, oh my gosh. And I start, of course, getting on the internet and Googling and researching, and having to basically sleep through that news, overnight until I went back to the doctor the next day and had some clarity. And essentially Noah's left heart was not there. It did not form. So he was not viable for life. And we were asked to terminate. Do you want to terminate? You have a few more days to terminate in the state of Texas. And we were asked multiple times in those next series of appointments. And of course, our answer was no. But
so at this point, you were given the heartbreaking option to terminate the pregnancy, be sent home on what they call comfort care after he's born, or if his case qualified, put him through 3 open heart surgeries that could potentially prolong his life. And your vision of welcoming your first baby at that point quickly changes. Now, he was diagnosed with hypoplastic left heart syndrome, HLHS, which is a birth defect that affects normal blood flow through the heart. And as the baby develops during pregnancy, like you just mentioned, the left side of the heart does not form correctly. And hypoplastic left heart syndrome is one type of congenital heart defect. Now, coming full circle to Noah, awaiting a heart transplant. Walk me through this waiting period.
Yeah. So this was not our journey, right? Our original journey. Hypoplastic left heart is typically, in a perfect scenario, it's 3 surgeries. And then eventually the child or adult, hopefully at that point, will need a heart transplant. But as technology gets better, sometimes even these children are not having, those happening. So Noah had his first and second open heart surgery, and he was still in severe heart failure and had a couple other anomalies. And last year we found out he was no longer qualified for his 3rd surgery, which needed to be happen this summer. And that's when we listed him for a transplant. And there's so much about it's such a complex organization and just process, but there's multiple different processes with transplantation. And the first is listing, but you're not just listed as a 1 status. You have to be inpatient to be on the top of the list. And in order to be inpatient, you essentially have to be almost dying. And the way inpatient can be, up to 5-6 months. And that's average for most of these babies. So the death rate, while, in pediatric cases is relatively high. We were listed as a status 2 because Noah was well enough to be home. I was able to manage his heart failure at home throughout this last year. And then we went inpatient on February 16th of this year to be listed as a 1A because Noah was getting very, very ill. And we got the call on March 31st, and he got his new heart on April 1st.
That is, I'm going to cry. You're going to make me cry. So now over 100,000 people in the US are awaiting for an organ transplant. And unfortunately, many may never get the call saying that a suitable donor organ and a second chance at life has been found, to your point. It's estimated that every day in the US, 20 patients die because of the lack of donor organs. And it can be hard to think about what's going to happen to our body after we die, let alone donating our organs and tissue. But what do you wish to tell people? about
I
organ donation?
Yeah, you know, I'm still processing everything. It's been so much and so heavy. Even the day we got that call, to think that another, sorry, I'm gonna cry. The other family is losing their child. You know, we know that the
Yeah.
only heart that Noah could accept was a baby or a child. And to know that a family is making such a sacrifice so that Noah can live, yeah, how do I hope that, and that they have peace, and that this is truly the only way that Noah can live, whether it's, a few more years, but just to have that quality of life. And yeah, I really urge everyone to sign up, to be an organ donor. Um,
It's
it's definitely
priceless.
not.
It's priceless.
Yeah,
I mean, the
it's
gift of
just
life is priceless. And this is proof. Baby Noah now has a second lease on life. I mean, if you could go back and look at when they first gave you the news to where you are now, and to all the ups and downs and the hurdles and the bumps in the road, but it's all worth it, because now he has a beating brand new heart, and he's going to live a very healthy and full life. And that is not something that you could have ever been able to predict, because God always has a bigger plan. And here you are today, and here he is today, and here I found you, and I'm promoting you because I think you are absolutely god darn amazing. Now, what do you want to tell older Noah?
To use his voice, and I hope that Noah just lives life. I hope nothing ever, I try, it's so hard to have a medically fragile child and to let them do everything, because
Yeah.
it's you're scared of everything. But I really hope that he just does whatever he wants. I hope that we never hold him back. Nothing ever holds him back. Um, and I hope that other people can be inspired by that, and that he uses that, as inspiration to others.
Well, he has a very strong family unit. I mean, you and your husband Brandon obviously have gone to great lengths. There's nothing that you wouldn't do for your child, and it shows. And when you provide that kind of love and ecosystem, and you provide the safety that you've provided, and made the right decisions intuitively, from your gut as a mom, because moms always do know best, even more than doctors, then you're good. So the fact that you've been able to come this far shows a testament to number one, the true strength that you have inside of you. I mean, even if you look at your history, having cancer from a young age and survived it, and turned that into something positive with the nonprofit that you started. And then there you have again, you told you can't have kids, you do have a child, holding on for dear life to make sure that you can give him, a healthy existence. And you've done that. So, definitely you should be laughing after lemons. That's a perfect handle for you, my dear.
Thank
But
you. Yeah.
we are at the end of our interview, but my last question to you is, where do you find the strength?
I just know that today does not impact tomorrow. And, sometimes I look back on everything that's happened, and I'm like, how did I get through that? And so sometimes it's just truly taking everything minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, and not thinking about tomorrow, not thinking about yesterday, truly just being in right now. I've really had to practice that.
Being in the moment, and you've done a great job. Thank you so much. You inspired me, you made me cry, you made me laugh, you warmed my heart. This is one of my favorite interviews. You're amazing, and please give a big hug and a big kiss to baby Noah, because he is just an angel.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. That was our disability awareness segment, brought to you by ojpay.com. And that was the incredible Kasie Marek, two-time childhood cancer survivor and medical mama to heart warrior baby Noah. She's embracing life's lemons. You can check her out all over social media at Laughing After Lemons, and you can head directly to their website at laughingafterlemons.com. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.